this is Monica from Looking for Group. Today I'm here with Lemar Daniels, the Esports Director at Lourdes University. How are you doing today?
Hey Monica, I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on here. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for giving your time today. Hopefully this will only take about 15 minutes, but I'm going to drill in on the first question right away. Tell me how the esports program gets started at Lourdes.
Wow, that's a question that I honestly don't fully have the answer to
Ooh,
because
okay.
it is my second year here at the program, but the program's been around for 4 years. So Lords Esports is actually one of the older varsity programs out there. I I just know that it started a couple years ago. I think it was kind of we saw that some other schools in our area. I think this was about so this might have been 2 years after Robert Morris had started it, and then you had like the first six founding schools of NACE, like Campbellsville, Maryville might have been there, Columbia, and then I think the following years when we joined the board as well. So we kind of saw like the benefit it was giving to some other schools around the country, and instead of waiting for a little bit, we kind of wanted to try to be like, one of the first movers on it as well. So I guess that's how we got started.
Awesome. And how did you find yourself in the role? Do you have a background in esports and gaming?
I actually have a background in traditional athletics.
Oh,
So
okay.
I was a college athlete. I ran track in college and played volleyball. Also was part of acrobatics program. Um, I knew I had the passion for working with student athletes. I went to grad school, got my MBA, and then got my master's of sports administration. While I was there, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Thought I wanted to do student athlete development, like helping student athletes figure out what they want to do after they graduate. Like if they didn't go pro, what is your identity?
Mm-hmm.
Who do you want to be after that? Either that or coaching. I have experience coaching track and volleyball at the high school and college level, or esports, and I couldn't figure out which route I wanted to go. So I found a job that lets me do all three. And now I get to help develop student athletes. I get to coach. I get to work in esports. So that's a perfect fit for me where I'm at.
It sure sounds like it. And a perfect transition into the next question. Can you tell me a little bit about how you oversee your competitive and casual components of your gaming community and how they might cross over?
Got it. I will say, Lords, we don't. There isn't too strong of a casual scene. There's a small esports club, but even then, hasn't really grown much. A lot of my program is just strictly on the competitive side. We're housed in athletics, so we're treated like student athletes on campus along with anybody else. Um, so that's something that I definitely, hopefully, can help improve on. It's something that I help out as far as like the area of. So we're in Sylvania, Ohio, was a suburb of Toledo, which is where I grew up actually, and so the casual scene, if there's anything going on or like people reach out for me to help, I'll lend my advice and try to help out. As far as Lords, and maybe this is something that I definitely want to try to help grow in the future. A lot of it is just kind of the competitive side. Our rec sports and intramural department might throw on like a tournament here or there, like a Call of Duty or a 2K thing, and I might help out in some sense there. But for the most part, it's just the competitive scene for us.
Very cool. So, with that in mind, then, what kind of titles are you competing in? What leagues are you involved in, if any? And do your students get to compete for cash prizes and tournament winnings and stuff?
Gotcha. So we compete in League of Legends, Overwatch, Rocket League, Fortnite, Hearthstone, and Super Smash Brothers. Those are the six titles we have right now. Um, Leagues we compete in, obviously the National League, so that's CLO for League of Legends, TESPA for Overwatch, Rocket League, CRL, also for Overwatch and Rocket League. We do NACE, National Association of Collegiate Esports, Hearthstone, TESPA, and NACE. Super Smash Brothers right now is just CSL, and we're growing that team right now, so it's a little on the smaller side. And then for Fortnite, play VS, and also NACE as well. Um, as far as winning cash prizes, yeah, definitely. Like if we're in a tournament and there's a cash prize at the end, then usually I'll let that be for the students. It may or may not be like, all right, we'll use a little to cover the travel we had or something, but for the most part, I leave that to the students, and then they're free to do that on their own as well. So if
Okay.
take Fortnite, if there's this cash cup going on, they have more than likely to play in it themselves, and I actually encourage that, and I want them to be able to do that. Also, last but not least, we are in a regionalized conference, so the Great Lakes Esports Conference. we compete against some other schools in our area, the Ohio, Indiana area, and that is in Rocket League, Overwatch, and League of Legends. And it's really cool. Like, kind of gets us to be able to build like those regional rivalries and see the same team over and over again, and like kind of how traditional sports is right now. We get the ability to compete for a conference tournament every single year.
Wow, it sounds like you guys have a lot of opportunity to do
Yeah, yeah,
literally
definitely.
anything.
Yes,
Anything you'd
yeah.
like. That's awesome. It's always nice to have all those options. So, talking a little bit about how the students play, what kind of facilities do you have available to them? How many PCs and consoles are available? And what kind of gear do you guys use?
So we have a about 900 to 1,000 square foot space in our rec building. So right upstairs from our gymnasium, we're housed in the athletics building. We have 25 different PC stations, and we run with Corsair keyboards, SteelSeries mice, and Sennheiser headsets. Definitely looking to kind of upgrade some of our stuff as we go on. This is now my second year in charge, and knowing that the lifespan of some of the stuff that we have, might be getting to that point that it needs to be replaced. So I have lofty goals for what I want to happen here at Lords. I know it takes a little time to build those blocks as far as like us expanding, but it is something that I'm very interested in. Definitely want us to do as we go forward.
It sounds like you might have a few unique ideas, which leads me
Yeah,
into my
yeah,
next
yeah.
question,
Okay.
which is what is something unique about Lord's program that sets you apart from the rest?
Huh. I think I think the personality of myself and then the team, and I'll explain this and this is that um, one thing that I like that I'm able to provide to my student athletes is that I was a student athlete myself, and so I tell them all the time, any mistake that you went through as a student athlete, I promise you, I did the same thing. I failed a class in college. I slept through a final exam. I had a bad breakup. I paid most of my way through college, like all traditional stuff that any college student would go through. While on top of that, balancing practices and workouts and travel and games. And so I feel like me having that experience plus the knowledge that I got from where I went to school, and definitely and going somewhere that I wanted to do college athletics and work with college athletes has definitely benefited me because it allows me to relate to my players at a different level than I think most will be able to. Some people come from the professional esports scene, which is great, right? And there's a lot of lessons you can learn from that. But I think there's a reason why most college coaches in any sport also played in college. It's just it's an experience that not many people ever have, right? It's only a small percentage of the population that was a college athlete, and I think myself going through that helps me relate. Also, I think what sets us apart is that um, as far as like the personality of the team, and I think we're a fun-loving bunch who is fiercely competitive. And I think like one of the biggest things I realized with anybody is that we all have something to prove. Whether it's individual players, whether proving to their parents that this is something that should be doing, proving to friends, proving to other people within their own individual game scene that they're actually good at what they do. To kind of Lords itself as proud as us, proving ourselves. We had a very strong program a couple years ago, and then things just didn't work out so well that a couple of things had to be replaced, and we had to kind of rebuild the program. That's when I got hired, and so I think as a name, we're also trying to prove ourselves as well. So I think we have a uniqueness in as far as just the drive of each individual player here, and I definitely love that because I feel like that represents myself in a way.
That is excellent. I feel like that shared experience piece you mentioned is really crucial to building a connection between the students and administration. You know,
Yeah,
individuals like yourself in these director or head coach roles need to serve as this bridge between the students speaking fluent esports and, all the gaming terminology, and then the administration of the, collegiate network who may not understand that sort of things, and being kind of
yeah,
this translator and, being able to share an experience with your students, helps them and helps you understand too.
exactly.
And that's exactly what we're trying to do here at Looking for Group too, is relate to the students, let them know, hey, we know how daunting the search process can be, so we're providing these resources for them.
Hmm.
So it's just so nice to meet other like-minded people. That's all. I just get
Good.
a little
Yeah,
excited about that.
agreed.
So the next question I have for you, and the final question, is probably the most pivotal. So, for the students who are watching this who might be thinking about applying to Lourdes program or just applying to schools in general, what kind of advice would you give them, either specifically or generally, as they embark on this journey of finding an esports program?
Um, that's a good question. I will say that, and I'll kind of relate to it. When I was doing my recruiting, so when I went to run track, I did the whole recruiting process as well. Um, Two big things is A, if you can, make sure you visit the school. I thought I knew where I was gonna go until I visited the school I ended up choosing. And then when I was there, literally the next day, that's when I picked that school and changed my mind because I was there and I knew it's exactly where I wanted to be. I think being able to get out there and visit a school is very pivotal. I know we're in a kind of in a tough time right now with COVID still kind of going about and changing people's lives right now. But if you can, and I know even here at Lords, we're still doing visits, we're just making sure to take the proper precautions of everything. That's big. Second thing is don't inflate a large scholarship with a great time or with a great
Mm,
experience. Don't equate the two. Whereas I do feel like we kind of give on the higher end as far as collegiate esports goes. We probably give on the higher end of scholarships. We grant up to 16,000 a year for our program here. Um, but I do think that there are some schools out there that grant very high scholarships as well that aren't quality places. Um, for example, we had 3 transfers from another school come in last year who went to a program that was very giving them really good scholarship, but after a semester there, they just realized it wasn't a good fit. So
mm.
I will challenge that. Like sometimes paying a little bit more for something you feel like is a good fit will bless you down the road. And so don't be turned off if you find a place that might cost a little bit more, but if you feel like it's just where home is for you and where you want to be for the next 4 years.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice. It's important not to get hung up on the numbers. They are important. You do want to make
Yes.
sure it's a good financial fit, but you don't want to get hung up on the dollars and cents and make it your only deciding factor.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's definitely resonate with that. Awesome. So before we disconnect here, is there anything about the program that you'd like to mention?
um I think I touched everything. I was gonna plug the scholarship number in there,
Do
but
it. Yeah, do it again.
I I will do it again. So at Lords we give anywhere from about 5,000 to 16,000 on our team currently. Is the range of scholarships that we have. Um, I look at obviously skill level, but I try to look at what's your kind of personal finances situation. I know sometimes somebody just needs to be provided that opportunity to show themselves and prove themselves. I tell a story. We had a kid who came in, transferred, didn't have a really high GPA, and was about like plat 3 in league. We got him in here, and immediately first semester he has a 3.5, and he's climbed up to like diamond 2. So like
Wow.
I do know that sometimes I try to look at the entire situation of somebody and look at like, hey, if we give you a little bit more, will that help you prove yourself? And I think that's the coolest thing about Lords is you provide the opportunity for people to prove themselves, whether to themselves or whether to others, and um, all that combined with the relatability I'm able to have with the great education we're able to give here, I think ultimately provides people the best opportunity to become well-rounded people after they graduate and go off into whatever field they decide to do. So,
And I think that is a very positive place to end off here. Thank you
yeah,
so much for your time today, Lamar.
appreciate it. Thank you so much.